Of course, we know the heat and humidity will be here today. A lot of us were feeling it, and we're still almost at 6 p.m. and a lot of us sitting in the lower 90s, even close to middle 90s at Bogalusa. Some spots which have had a little bit more cloud cover and rain are in the 80s. Feels like temperatures, though, soaring to around 100 to 105 or so in a lot of spots. And just checking on that feels like temperature moving through the rest of this evening. Of course, that'll be moving downward through the 90s and eventually into the 80s, only for feels like temperatures later tonight. By the way, these were our afternoon highs, generally around 93 or even 94 at the airport. So certainly a hot day. The average right now is about 90. And not as much rain. In fact, even with this loop, which goes back a couple of hours, not seeing much at all. But we did have a couple of downpours, especially south of the lake and south of the city, even with a few sprinkles in New Orleans today. Later tonight, we're looking mostly quiet, not expecting rain through the evening. Temperatures will be getting into the 70s for lows. And then tomorrow, almost a repeat, I think, with our temperatures soaring to about 93. The feels like temperature close to 105 or 106. And I went ahead and kept about a 20 to 30% chance for a couple of storms. Today we were looking for a mostly dry day, but again, we did have enough to help out with the heat a little in a lot of spots. But you saw the oranges and reds. Those are heat warnings or advisories. And for us, we're looking at almost the same setup tomorrow that we had today. So another heat advisory issued for Monday. 10 a.m. until 7 is when it will be the hottest, with the heat index again up to about 106. And we also talked about the air quality alert issued for Monday. This doesn't happen that often here. Generally, we have kind of better air quality than some of the bigger cities you think of that typically have a lot of pollution and smog. So this doesn't happen too often, but with these high pressure systems like we have this week, we're kind of seeing that pollution kind of getting trapped at the surface perhaps. So what to do when we have that kind of level? Really, it's the level that's unhealthy for sensitive groups. That includes people with respiratory issues, maybe with asthma, or older people who kind of have trouble outdoors sometimes in the heat. So tomorrow with respiratory issues, if you fall into that group, just stay indoors, especially in the afternoon. Nothing awful is going to happen if you venture outside for a little bit, but you just kind of want to stay where the air is a bit cleaner. Conserve your energy. You could run errands in the morning or late in the evening, and just kind of to help with that chemicals at the surface. A lot of us, if we might consider walking or biking instead of using our car engines, and mowing our lawns in the evening as opposed to in the daytime, and also refueling your car after about 6 or 7 p.m. So just a little heads up for tomorrow. Again, will only affect people with those sensitive issues, respiratory issues for tomorrow, I think. But the rest of us will feel, of course, the heat and humidity. Our forecast model, though, does actually have a little bit of rain. Let me show you. This is tomorrow afternoon. And here are a couple of downpours, which actually could help with the heat, of course, and maybe even with the air quality alert in some spots. You can see that by 4 p.m. some downpours will be around, with the rain dwindling in the evening. So that's why, even though in the upper atmosphere we have this huge high that is going to be keeping us quite warm and hot, of course, it's going to retreat a little to the west, but this is mainly in the upper atmosphere. Also, we'll have surface highs, but we may actually have just a little bit enough afternoon rain to kind of keep some of our temperatures at least from staying at 93 and 94 all afternoon, but it won't be widespread rain in the afternoons. Now, I promised you a look at the tropics. There's nothing out there right now. No threats to the Gulf Coast, really nothing at this point, but we will eventually see in the middle of the Caribbean Sea some low pressure that does have a low chance for development in 5 days as it generally moves north and then northwest into the northwest part of the Caribbean Sea. Now, most models are keeping this far to the south, and I kind of hesitate to show the really long range models because we always say the farther out in time, the less accurate these are. But I just wanted to point out that two big global models have it crossing Yucatan and then moving westward into Mexico, not this week, but early next week. So about 10 or so days out. This would be Tuesday, not in 2 days, but the following week. So something we have a long time to track. Just wanted to show you quickly the European model, showing the same thing. Low pressure getting near Yucatan, getting into the Bay of Campeche, and then just kind of hanging far to the south of the U.S., maybe moving westward into Mexico. And this model has it maybe not as strong, perhaps. We will see. But that big high is really going to play a role in just kind of keeping our weather pretty steady and keeping anything far to the south of us, I think, if it did get toward Yucatan or toward the Bay of Campeche. So just a little heads up, something we'll be tracking. The next name on the list is Bonnie. We will certainly keep you advised as we get into the next week or so, but lots of time to watch it and also not looking particularly threatening for the U.S. 7-day forecast shows the rain chance 20 or 30% most afternoons and highs in the lower to middle 90s.
A big surprise this afternoon in the college baseball.